Good morning to everyone in the ISTI community and beyond. We are so excited to be back once again in August, focusing on accountability and really looking at our corporate partners and featuring some of the amazing ones that we have the opportunity to work with. So today I'm honored and joined by Kavita, Sood Isaacs from Baxter Foundation. And Kavita, I'm going to turn it over to you right away. I'd love for you to introduce yourself, give us a little bit about your role and how you got there.
Sure. Well, good morning. Thank you, Becky, for having me. So I joined Baxter in April 2019, and I was really excited to start my first CSR job as manager of global community giving and engagement. So I have a few main priorities as a part of the team, and one of those is the global work that we do at the Baxter International Foundation with grant making and employee engagement. Another is our annual corporate responsibility report and the writing process, as well as our product donations and disaster relief grants. And before joining Baxter, I worked in international fundraising and development, and I had a focus on nonprofit corporate partnerships with a focus on global health at the United Nations Foundation.
Very cool. Prior to your role at Baxter, did you know something like that even existed?
I did, because in my work with fundraising, I worked specifically with companies on their investments in global health and how they could have positive influence and change with their corporate responsibility strategy. So I did know about these roles, and I thought it was a huge way to have an impact.
That's awesome. I feel like we've heard a lot of narratives that this was kind of a new and emerging field. So I'm glad that you kind of had an in that scaffolded you to kind of where you are right now. We're certainly happy you're in this role and partnering with ISTI. In this role, specifically with Baxter, what do you enjoy most?
You know, what's really cool about being in CSR at Baxter is that we're making a meaningful difference, and it's inherent in what we do. So as a healthcare company, our mission is to save and sustain lives, and my role in corporate responsibility really builds upon that mission that we work with every day. And I have to say that one of the best parts too is just working with an incredible global team and all of our partners around the world.
Can you give us some examples? And I know this is kind of off script, but when you talk about a global impact, can you give us some examples of where else Baxter operates to make an impact kind of beyond the Chicagoland area or even Illinois?
Sure. So our headquarters are here in Illinois in Deerfield, but we have 50,000 employees globally across Asia Pacific, APAC, across Europe and Latin America. So both from research, manufacturing, R&D perspective, our footprint spans the globe, as well as our nonprofit and social impact investments.
So this makes sense now. The Baxter International Foundation kind of really truly spanning all over with a lot of personnel on hand. We know that Baxter International Foundation and just Baxter in general has a huge imprint or a huge footprint in the community around us, and as we've mentioned, globally as well. What is the overall mission of the foundation specifically?
Sure. So the foundation's mission is to foster good health and well-being, and we do that through three key different priorities. So one being increasing access to healthcare, two, promoting innovation in healthcare through STEM education, and three, promoting community resilience through the work of our employees in their communities.
Excellent. And thinking about kind of all those three priorities, how does a company like Baxter choose where to invest to really bring those priorities to the forefront?
Sure. So we work specifically in the communities where we have a significant employee footprint around the world. That really enables us to focus in where our people in and where we can have the greatest impact.
Awesome. And thinking through again, kind of the process of working with the foundation, what comes up as a challenge when thinking about, again, investing in the community or investing in specific partnerships? Where are some of the challenges?
Sure. So I think, you know, it's rewarding to figure out where the intersection of our priorities and our partners' strength and expertise is. And one of those challenges is just making sure that we're staying hyper-focused on both the communities and the areas where we can have the biggest impact. And that means more long-term strategic investments in a few key areas with a few key partners.
It sounds like it's like a lot of kind of quality over just quantity. So really making sure that it really aligns with Baxter's idea and with kind of where that impact is. Why is it important for a company like Baxter to have a philanthropic or kind of social responsibility sector within it, a larger corporation?
That's a good question. We are an 85-year-old company that's always been focused on our patients and our caregivers who rely on our portfolio of products. So it's important for us to have a philanthropic strategy that complements our work in corporate responsibility. And, as we aim to continue to grow our business sustainably, we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our different stakeholders, from employees, the communities, and the patients that we work with. So giving back is kind of inherent to our business strategy. And, I'll add that our sustainability work started in the 80s and kind of formalized, and our first corporate responsibility report was launched in 1999. So, today you can read about our philanthropic work in our annual corporate responsibility report, the latest one we just published in June, and that really gives you a snapshot of an integrated look at our operations and social investments and why it's important to be a good corporate citizen.
Excellent. I heard you say something too that, the CSR and kind of recognizing it started for Baxter long ago. How have you seen it in the time that you've been at Baxter, or even just understanding the strategy overall with Baxter? How have you seen it evolve in the last either couple of years or more than that?
I think continuing to grow and learn and be sophisticated with our program is a target of ours. And specifically with the foundation, we aim to have that kind of more long-term strategic impact. And one of the ways that we have tried to revitalize and grow our STEM portfolio in particular is with the launch of our STEM Innovation Council last year. So across the enterprise, we brought together business leaders in IT, R&D, engineering to come together and look at how can we grow our STEM investments globally. And one of the things they've specifically looked at is what part of the education pipeline we can have the greatest impact in.
That's awesome. And so the outcome of that conversation, can that be found in this year's report, or is that kind of a long-term conversation?
Sure. So our investments and our strategy and the way we've evolved can be found in our report, which is under corporate responsibility on our website. And the STEM Innovation Council, being new, is hopefully, over the next couple of years going to take a look at that investment and outcome.
Excellent. So we'll continue to see it evolve, which sounds really exciting. When you look at the causes that Baxter Foundation or Baxter partners with specifically, so for example, like ISTI, we also know that you have a large investment with other nonprofits, with other school systems. What's kind of the overarching tying point? What do they all have in common?
I think across our portfolio, whether it's investing in maternal mobile health clinics in the Dominican Republic, or STEM in the US or Brazil, or promoting safe surgery in India, what ties them all together is the goal of increasing access to care and improving access to care. And I think that really drives our partnerships and what we hope to achieve throughout our work globally.
Excellent. And within just Illinois as a whole, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about, are there any initiatives kind of beyond ISTI that Baxter Foundation is working on currently?
Yes, so we've invested over $11 million in STEM since 2008. So across the Chicagoland area, we work with Northwestern University and the Baxter Center for Science, the various high schools we work with through ISTI, as well as different organizations in those different priority areas with access to care, STEM innovation, and community resilience.
Awesome. And when you're working with organizations, again, like the ones you just mentioned and with ISTI, especially around STEM education, what is it that you all hope to see as an outcome?
I think we value partnerships like the one we have because of our ability to demonstrate and see how innovation starts at any age. And I think one of the most exciting parts of our partnership is the STEM showcase, where we get to see how students, use their innovation and working on these business problems and the solutions that they've come up with. And I think that's really thanks to our Baxter mentors and their ability to work with students, show them what a STEM career looks like in real life and day jobs. And ultimately, we hope this translates into more students pursuing STEM careers.
We have that same kind of big goal. So I'm glad, again, we're aligned in that mission. Something you said too that I loved, innovation can start at any age. So with ISTI, we focus on high school students. Is Baxter right now in any grades below that?
We are. So currently our STEM investments span K through 12 initiatives.
Okay. Excellent. So yeah, you all are investing early, which we love to see. In terms of working and seeing the growth of the foundation, and even kind of in the role that you're doing to promote it globally, what's fulfilling about it?
I think it is our ability to see the long-term change and kind of those the impact that we can have both on an individual level with our employees and investing in their expertise and talents, but then also in the community partnerships that we build. And it's kind of seeing that change over time that's really rewarding.
Thinking back to the partnership again through ISTI and Baxter, we have had mentors that have been with us since the start, and they've continued to come back, and the mentor team has continued to grow. And this boots on the ground work is a little different than just writing a check or just showing up for a one-day event. It's ongoing and it's consistent. So what is it about Baxter that cultivates this climate and community of giving back and volunteering?
I think, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, being a good corporate citizen is ingrained in what we do, and we strive to be a best place at work. And that includes, our willingness and interest to give back both at a company level, but at a personal level with our employees. So we see the value in leveraging our employees' expertise and interests and being able to work specifically in the communities where we are. And so I think it's that combination of able to have a hands-on impact and being able to support our employees in what's important to them that really keeps them motivated and inspired to come back as mentors every year.
Much of the volunteering that you just mentioned as well is also skills-based volunteering. And so again, kind of thinking from your role and all the different opportunities that are presented to Baxter employees, why is skills-based volunteering something that you value providing to employees?
I think that it's important because we can invest our time and talents in different ways. And so using our skills hands-on, I think both is an opportunity for employees to stretch their skills and innovate in a different way in problems outside of their job, right? In the classroom instead. And I think that's why with skills-based volunteering, you have a way to both work on what you're an expert in, but also learn in a new way. I know our mentors are constantly learning from the students as well, and they bring that back to the office and innovate in their roles continuously as well.
Excellent. I'm glad that it's the reciprocation of this growth. It's not just one-sided, which we love to hear as well. Thinking through again, Baxter Foundation, and you've touched on it already with kind of these innovation conversations. How do you see the future of Baxter Giving or Impact evolving?
I think, as I mentioned, recently we shifted to this long-term strategic investment with a few key partners in a few key areas. That was a recent shift for us. I think, as I mentioned too, we're continually evolving in STEM and with our STEM Innovation Council. And I think being able to adapt and assess both where we're able to have the biggest impact and what the community needs are is really a way we're going to continue to grow and be able to ensure that we can have the best impact. I think it's being able to learn and listen and decide where we can make those investments.
Where do you see challenges in that goal?
I think is, as we're seeing right now, the needs are really great. And so the challenge is being, us understanding what the needs are in the community and then where we can have a targeted focus is really important. And that's just something that we'll have to continually look at. But it's really rewarding to be able to say, this is an area where we can make change.
With Baxter as an overall kind of pillar in each community, what do you feel like, and again, this is off script, but what do you feel like Baxter's role in a community really is?
As a business, I think it's providing that quality care, right? First and foremost, our mission to save and sustain lives means producing products and quality and safety and ensuring the safety of our patients. And I think in our philanthropic work, we mirror that. We want to ensure that where we're investing is improving care, serving, we serve underserved populations globally, and that's really our focus because we want to make sure that there is a way we can give back both through our business and through philanthropy to those who need it most.
What would you tell students, like the ones that your mentors work with, who want to know how they could work for a company like Baxter in the future?
I would say that STEM is important because it's embedded in everything that we do and because it provides those critical thinking skills that are applicable to whatever profession they choose. So I think I would tell them that, STEM skills allow you to adapt quickly, to complex problems and challenges. And I think if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's that those with technology and digital and science skills are the ones that are able to adapt and help us figure out, the solutions to these new problems. So I think, STEM skills are, I would tell students that they're important to propel all parts of our economy, and that, to keep their curiosity alive, to lean into those areas that are challenging or new, because I think that will help them be successful in whatever path they choose to follow.
I love that advice. It's empowering me too. Keep it on. One more thing too, I'd love to kind of go backwards a little bit. And you talked about the CSR report that Baxter kind of releases to help us understand really the breadth of all that Baxter Foundation and Baxter does as a company and then as a philanthropic sector. What types of analytics do you look to put into a report like that? And how does that report kind of guide further continuation of programming?
Sure. So in terms of our overall corporate responsibility strategy, we have a set of 5-year goals that we're working towards for 2015 to 2020. So in each of those, in each of 8 different priority areas across those goals, we have targets that we've set to achieve. So whether that's in operations with water use or energy, or on the philanthropic side with our investments and product donations, we use these goals and targets as a way to measure and hold ourselves accountable. So I think the report really gives a full snapshot, both from a business, ethics and compliance, operations and products, to a social side and what our employees are doing to give back. And it's really important for us to tell that integrated story and hold ourselves accountable to our stakeholders.
I think that's a really important kind of perspective of like, it's not just doing the work, but also kind of reflecting on the success, the impact, and then of course the accountability piece and what needs to be done to move forward. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us just from the Baxter perspective on things that are happening, around the Baxter community, or that Baxter is making an impact that we may not know about?
I think we're grateful for our community partners and the way that we can work together, especially during this time, through the new challenges we're seeing with COVID-19 and healthcare. It's important for us to be able to provide the products to our patients and healthcare providers. And I think another key project that we have, a program that we have, is our Manufacture to Donate with our product donations. So we manufacture products to give to 3 humanitarian partners twice a year, so that they can position our products in times of emergencies and disasters. And I think now, as we're seeing with pandemics and natural disasters, it's more important than ever to be able to provide that humanitarian assistance. So I think that's another key program that we work on as a company, and is built into what we do, that's able to provide and serve underserved communities.
It's very clear that both the business and the philanthropic side are aligned so beautifully. And I think that's really unique to Baxter as well, that it really is about not only taking care of the patient, but thinking beyond the patient community, and looking at kind of this next generation of patient caretakers. Those are all the questions that I have. I would love to turn it over to you, just if you have any kind of last thoughts, words of wisdom, or anything else that you'd like to share with us today.
Well, thank you. We're grateful for our partnership with ISTI, and I would say, it's an exciting time to be in CSR, and I would just encourage students to think big in terms of, new challenges with education and the learning environment right now, but that doesn't have to change their goals and their dreams. And there are a lot of different careers in STEM out there that hopefully can marry all their interests. So I hope that, just want to wish everyone luck in this transition and this time. And thank you so much for this opportunity to share about Baxter's corporate responsibility work.
Absolutely. And for anyone watching, whether it's live or later on, if you have questions for Kavita, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll make sure that she gets them as well. I assume they can visit Baxter's website to check out more on the CSR goals and the report from June. But other than that, we wish everyone a wonderful weekend, and we will be back very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.